The Nebraska should be probably your toughest test yet right into the season. And just looking forward to see how these guys respond to a little bit tougher challenge, a little bit different atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nebraska is always one of the top teams. I mean, they always have a great dual meet team too, and they're good at every weight. So every one of our kids will be tested, and I think that's great for us, and it's an opportunity to go wrestle well.
You think the first 5 bouts will really, set the tone for the match this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those duels where every point matters. You're fighting for everything you can get, and if we end up starting at the beginning or whatever, every match is big, and they're just big matches. Not just for the dual meet, but for the year. I mean, obviously the match is going to come and go, and we're going to be back here next Monday talking about the next match. But we still want to wrestle well and just continue to build from where we're at.
Greg was joking about how he'd rather start a duel than be at the end of a duel.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know you guys like the tradition of starting at 125, but if you guys had an ideal start in your lineup, where do you think it might be? If it is a legitimate question.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. That one's. I think it's just it's just in sports and whatever. You take what you get and you just run with it. If you're the first up, fine. If you're the last up, fine. You just adjust to it. I feel like we're confident with wherever we start. I don't think it really matters. It's kind of like whether you have your choice in the second or the third. If you think about it in a good way, it's just a wash, right? It's like all the matches are going to be wrestled, and you just have to manage your emotions and your energy and everything if you're the last match up, and you got to be ready to go for the first match up. So I think there's value in the preparation that it takes to be ready for any of those positions. So. But yeah, I don't think there's a spot. I mean, we love starting off with Lightning Luke. Obviously, I mean he's a competitor, and but having Greg start off last week was pretty dang good too.
Is that something that you're going to consider maybe going down the rest of the season, starting with Greg?
I don't know. That was kind of a one-time thing, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's not something we really have talked a lot about, or it was just something that kind of came up that day, and we kind of ran with it. And I got a text from Coach Cody, and he said, "Hey, we're starting with Greg." I'm like, "All right, let's go," whatever. But yeah, I think it was good. And sometimes you're thinking about the nationals, and what's the order potentially going to be of the finals, and so you're always kind of thinking ahead. And so that's more of kind of what I think about as far as those. And that's something that's completely out of your control. I mean, that's for some committee or whoever decides to do that in place. But you're kind of speculating, perhaps, and then trying to get your guys ready for that order, because you want to be ready to go, obviously, in the big ones.
I can't say there's been a lot of questions asked about Nick Nessenbrink, just because there's this outside understanding that he's going to be the heavy favorite. How do you handle something like that when there's this perceived idea that this wrestler isn't going to be challenged until the very end? Of course, he's out there handling business right now, but maybe what do you want to see from Mitchell down the stretch to really solidify that he's going to live up to those expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a word that can really hinder people and expectations. So I think, what really all we're looking for out of Mitchell is just be himself, right, and don't change, right? He's been successful. Obviously, he has a lot to be grateful for, that he is as good as he is, and that he has, kind of high expectations, but you can also use those expectations to your advantage as well, because your opponents might have a similar mentality too, right? So, you just have to kind of take what you have and make it work for you and exploit the positives of the situation. But yeah, I think that's just a natural progression if you're as successful as he has been. Different types of maybe expectations come where people really just like watching him wrestle. I mean, it's sport, so anything can happen. So I think that's kind of the reality, is he's just fun to watch wrestle. He scores a lot of points. He's going to attack the whole time. And because he does that, maybe he could feel a little additional pressure. But, I would just, as we tell him, is just be yourself, and things will just kind of work out. So
I'm assuming all you coaches know each other and everything, but throughout the circuit and all. But when I think when Mark Manning left here in April, he wasn't too high on Penn State with the things
Oh, yeah.
happened with Burrows. You know, do you think you have a good relationship with him?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Coach Manning. I mean, he's got a great program. I think I just read somewhere where he had his 300th win. They had a big win against Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, he's a great competitor. He's done big things for the sport, for his student athletes. So, yeah, I think I don't think about things kind of in a personal way, whether we're best friends or not. I mean, if he knocked on my door, I'd invite him in and share my food with him. You know. I don't know if he'd do the same for me, but, you know, I probably deserve it, so whatever. But no, I think he's great, and they have a great program, and I got nothing but respect for Coach Manning, his staff. He's got a great staff, and also, obviously, all the wrestlers. Cool.